Hello, everybody. I just want to make sure everybody's seeing me live because I know it usually takes like a second. So while we're waiting for this to catch up, I just want to make sure everyone can see me.
Eat only raw food.
Nothing but plant-based.
Eat hot.
Let's see. Okay. I think everyone can see me. Took me a minute. Hi, everybody. I am here, ready to talk, having a good time. So, let's see. Well, fun fact. I'm going to finish off this bottle today. Ooh, there you go. So I'm having this. It's a Pinot Noir, and it's from the Willamette Valley in Oregon. And the winemaker is this guy named Ernst Lucen, and he is a very famous winemaker from Germany. His brand, well, company is like, or distrib, whatever. The winemaker's Dr. Lucen. So if you want to have like a really fancy Riesling, look for that. But he bought a bunch of land in Oregon and decided, hey, I'm going to try, you know, making Burgundy style wines. And so we started making this one, and I like it. It got better with time. Like when I first opened this bottle and tried some, I was like, I wasn't so into it. Because the thing with like Pinot Noir in general is that it's very floral, at least in my experience. And this one wasn't so floral. And I was like, okay. But it's like now it's been like 2 days since I opened it. So now it's like really open and pretty. So it took some time to like get going. But I've almost drank all of it. So I'm just going to finish off this bottle. It's like maybe like a glass and a half because this is a very large cup. So we're working it out. So yeah, I got this one. I put some more wine in the fridge. We'll see how much I drink today. I'm trying not to drink as much, but for now I just got this Pinot Noir. So it is kind of nice though. Just it takes a minute to get going. So hi everybody. Today on this wine chat, I figured I would just do my end of February wrap up, mainly just because I did not read that much during the second half of February. It was like, I don't know, I was in such a reading slump, and I will tell you why. The reason is House of Sky and Breath, and I'll get into that. I have some words for it. But I basically only read 3 books. One of them was Rebecca, but I've already reviewed that, so I'm not going to review it once more. But the other book I read was Electric Idol by Katie Robert. And this one, you know what? I thoroughly enjoyed. I loved it more so than the first book of the series. Oh, shoot. What was it called? What is this called? Oh, Neon Gods. Yeah, Neon Gods. I thought was fine. It was good. This one, it was just like, oh, okay. So you're not playing around. Like this one's really, I gave it 5 stars. Is it like incredible? No, but it gets 5 stars just for pure unadulterated entertainment value. Yes. So I am very, very excited for this one. So this one, it was Psyche and Eros. So, you know, they're all modern day Greek myth retellings, and this one, Psyche and Eros. And I loved it so much. So, okay. You know how there's like that meme, and it was a TikTok for a while going around, and it was like, oh no, you did it, you messed up, you showed me human kindness, I'm your problem now. Like that's this book. Basically, Eros has been made into an assassin and a person he doesn't want to be, and no one's nice to him because Aphrodite's a bitch. And Psyche comes around and is just nice to him one time, and he's just like, nope, you did it. I'm never letting you go now. I'm your problem now. We're together forever. And she's like, oh my gosh, put your pants on. So that's the very short review of the book. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's so cute and fun. Well, not cute. It's definitely spicy. It's a spicy book. Mind you, remember how I was like making fun of that meme? Like, I'm not kidding. I actually highlighted a bit that actually kind of says that meme. So it says, the woman showed me kindness once, and I essentially followed her home like a feral cat and forced her to marry me. So There you go. That's the book. But I did really, really enjoy it. And Psyche is kind of a really cool heroine. She's not a kick your butt kind of girl. She's more of like, I'm gonna think real hard and destroy your life with my brain. And I like that. And she's also like an influencer, kind of. Mind you, this is modern day Olympus, so it's kind of like the regular modern world. And she's like, like an Instagram influencer, and she is plus size, and she's dealing with a lot of stuff on her own. And her and Psyche getting together is really cute because all of a sudden he's just like, I don't know what feelings are, but I have a lot of them. And then, spicy, smutty bits, just like a Katie Roberts book always has. So I highly recommend. I had a great time with this, loved it, devoured it in 2 days. Couldn't stop reading it. Very fun book. Let's see. Oh, well, hey, thank you. I'll get right to House of Breath and Sky. Hello. Check out Neon Gods. I actually like Electric Idol better. They are episodic, but you can read them separately. But I think maybe the story's a bit richer if you have read Neon Gods first. So I would go with it. So this is what everyone came to see. Let's talk House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. This book took me 7 days to read. And it's not just because it's a chonker. This is 800 pages. It's not just because it's 800 pages. I've read 800-page books in like 3 days. That's not the problem here. It's just I hit a wall with this book so hard, and like I just got irrationally angry with it, and like like it bothered me so much. And it's crazy because I know everyone like had a huge boner for this book. I have purposely not watched any review videos because I didn't want to get like, I don't know. I didn't want to be spoiled or biased in my opinions here. So yeah, I just went into it without any other expertise. And when I think about it here, like for Sarah J. Maas, I have read now, including this one, like 15 books by this author. I've read all of them, even the Catwoman book. I've read them all. I've read all of her work. So like I feel like I have some expertise here. But here's the thing. Out of 15 books, only one of them I really didn't like that much. And this is House of Sky and Breath. I know. I think I ended up giving it 3 stars because it's fine. It's whatever. But like, I hit such a wall with it. And like, I just could not suspend my disbelief anymore. And then things just kept bothering me more and more and more to the point where I just like, I could not deal with it. I know. I know. I am very surprised by that myself. I don't even know what to do with it. But I did keep a list of all the notes I made while reading the book, and it's long. So let's just get into it. I'll go over my notes a little bit, then we can like discuss in the comments. So in the previous book to this one, House of Earth and Blood, whatever, the first book of the series, I forget which combos of things they have. There was talk of this war happening somewhere else or about to happen somewhere else a little bit. At least it's been 2 years since I've read it, so like vaguely I remember that. And this book, they just start right in the beginning with like this war chapter, right? Where we're dealing with like an enemy, like a soldier behind enemy lines. She's undercover trying to get her brother out of literally a concentration camp. So it starts off, boom, very, very intense. And this character is named Sophie Renast. And she sorry. You know what? I'm just going to tell everyone right now, this is going to be super spoilery, but you guys came here. You should have already known that, I think. So it's just going to be what it's going to be. But there's going to be spoilers. You have been warned. There are spoilers. I'll try to keep them as vague as possible. But Sophie Renast just like dies at the end of chapter 1. Her whole chapter she's in. And then, she's a character throughout the book, but because other people are looking for her body, or is she really dead? I don't know. So that's kind of a thing that also was becoming troublesome for me with this book and in general, because so many of the characters in the book are dead, and yet no one can stop talking about them. Everything still has to do with this Sophie lady, but mind you, she's only in this book, so it's like, okay, whatever. And then you have Danica, Bryce's best friend, died in, again, like the first chapter of the previous book, and everything is about fucking Danica. Every day they find out some other new secret that Danica had. I'm like, this lady's been dead for several years at this point. And everything's all about, what did Danica do? What did she know? And it's like, does anyone else know anything? It's like, why are we dealing with Danica all, it's like every day in this book, some new secret about Danica comes out. And it's like, for fuck's sake, like, why is it always something Danica did? Did anyone know Danica? Is her whole personality just fictional because everyone who knew her literally knew nothing about her, apparently? So again, my blood pressure, guys. I'm gonna start drinking. Mm, yeah, like I said, I was hitting a wall with this book where I just couldn't with things. Anyway, so there's concentration camps in here. I'm like, that's a lot. And to start off with this really cool character, she's also using like Thunderbird mythos, which is Native or First Nation mythology. And I don't know. It's definitely a conversation to be had about her use of it in this book, but I don't think anything was done disrespectfully, so I'm letting it slide for now. I just, it's a bit appropriation. I don't know. That's a conversation to have. Let's see. Oh, okay. So Ethan, right? My note was, poor baby lone wolf. Someone give him a belly rub stat. I I don't know, guys. I wrote down notes. This is like future Amanda going back to past Amanda and wondering what the hell she was talking about. But yeah, so Ethan, who was kind of a dick in the first book, by the end of the first book, they were like friends again. And then like he gets kicked out of the wolf pack and he shows up all beat up in Danica's apartment because everything's happening around Danica. I get it. She's the main character of the book, but it's just like, you don't need everything to happen to you. But anyway, so he shows up and he's all like, I'm hurt. And so he needed belly rubs because he's a puppy. So Ethan becomes like a big character in this book, and he kind of hangs out with the bros. I'll get into the bros in a minute, but they introduce a lot of new characters in this book. So she has this guy named Cormac show up, who's kind of like a cousin, I guess. Maybe not. I don't know. He's like basically Rune, but from a different royal house of the Fae. And he shows up and he's like, "Sup, Bryce? We're getting married." And she's like, "The fuck we are. What is happening?" And that leads into my Bryce discussion for a second, because like, why is everyone obsessed with Bryce? Like, I get it, she's hot, but like, why does everybody want to fuck this girl? Like, everybody's in love with her to the point where it's just like, are there other women? Like, what is happening with this? So literally it's everybody. Ethan was like in love with her for a while. Now he's guilty about it. It's like, well, who cares? And then like everybody flirts with Therian, is like, he's a mermaid cop. And I love that, by the way. Therian was like my favorite bit because he's a mermaid cop. Anyway, we'll get into that later, but he flirts with her. Like the fucking like princes of hell flirt with her. Like everyone wants to bang this lady. Everyone's in love with Bryce. And I'm like, does she have like a diamond vagina? What is this with Bryce? Like, why is everyone obsessed with her at this point? I don't get it. Like, where is someone who just like doesn't like her? She's just like so virtuous and sparkly that it's like getting to a point where it's just like, you can't do everything, like it's too much. I felt it was laid on too thick, and like this is like all the pieces that kept giving me like a reading slump with this. But anyway, everybody loves her. She has a diamond vagina, I guess. So I wrote, Hunt apparently just received the best blowjob ever known to mankind. I'm just gonna leave it there. So there are a lot of talk about the demons from the pit, and I am interested in them. There's a lot of like open-ended bits in here about like what actually are the Asteri, what's going on in this world, the truth, so to speak. But I've always liked Adis quite a bit, mainly just because he like shows up as a talking cat, and I'm like, I love a talking cat. Like, tell me who you don't. Who doesn't love a talking cat? Am I right? Like, love, love it. So anyway, there's a talking cat, and I love him. So there's just that. And then for a long time, Hunt and Bryce are like not having sex, and it felt weird of a literary choice where it's just like everyone says like, "Oh, Sarah J. Maas book, they get smutty," and it was like she's like, "Oh, they're smutty. I'm gonna make them wait." They're just like, why? No one's saying they're smutty as an insult. We all like that they're smutty. Just let them fuck. Like, why are we waiting? Why are they not doing it? It was just bothersome to the point where I'm like, I have reader blue balls. Just get them together. And then like they finally start doing stuff, and it was like in a gym after they were both working out very heavily. Like Bryce was saying how sweaty she is, and then like they start doing things, and I was so grossed out. I was like, take a damn shower. Could you not wait 5 minutes? 5 minutes, please. It's just sweaty, grimy bodies. And I was like, you should not be putting your mouth on these things. Like, no, like I was anyway. Anyway. The, Charles, thank you for coming. I miss you. I agree. No one is saying like Sarah J. Maas books are smutty like it's a bad thing. We all just come here for the smut. We want that. Um, I don't remember the first time they do it, but I think it is over the 50% mark. So there's at least 400 pages of them. Like, I think there's like a little bit of business, but they don't do it. And speaking of that, like, this is just a thing with Sarah J. Maas books that hasn't bothered me really until now. That like every time they do it, it's like soul shattering sex and like, well, I'll never be the same again. These are amazing orgasms. I'll blow up the world with my orgasms. And it's like, can anyone just bone for funsies? Like, why is it always like so intense? You know, like every time they do something is just like soul shattering. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need my soul shattered on a daily basis. Like, can y'all just like have a good time and then, you know, make dinner? Like, be a normal human for just a minute. It's like there can't always be soul shattering. And it hasn't bothered me until this point where I'm just like, oh my gosh, get over yourself and your diamond vagina. Mm. So yeah, this book is just like a perfect storm of me finding all of the things that bothered me and having them bother me to like an extreme amount. So it's not a bad book. I don't want to be like disparaging, but like so many things bothered me so much in this book that I couldn't read it. Like it was just a bothersome. Okay. So okay, so I talked about the smutty bits and like, do everyone need their soul shattered? No. I also just made a note. The only thing keeping Fury from destroying them all is that she doesn't feel like it. Fury is like low key my favorite character. I wish there was more Fury in this book because she is so interesting. She reminds me of Amren from ACOTAR, which we will get into shortly because there are spoilers for ACOTAR in this book. I mean, this book got spoiled so soon on the internet. People probably have already heard things, but you know, all of the Maas universes are connected to each other. We kind of already knew that reading both Throne of Glass series and the ACOTAR series because Aelin does make a very brief appearance in the ACOTAR series. So we know they're connected. And we didn't know how Crescent City was connected, but I'll tell you what, they're connected. Very much so. And then this is then for the rest of my notes. I made like a bold one that says, this is the point where I lost all confidence in my reading ability. Okay, first of all, setting for this book. It is a fantasy world. Is it modern day fantasy? Yeah. Like it's not Earth. They don't take place on Earth. It's not like the real world, but like they have normal technology that we would have. Like they have TVs and cell phones and all that kind of stuff. And it was bothersome that they still called them cell phones and television because they don't live in the real world. Like, why would they call them the same thing we do? But like, I could get over maybe television or cell phones because it's technology based and maybe like, you know, they have the same technology. Maybe they would name it the same thing. Fine. But here's the thing that I could not get over is that why do they have pizza? Someone tell me, because they don't call it something different. They call it pizza. And these bitches eat pizza all the time because they're all a bunch of bros. They're all like bros. They're all a bunch of chads, and all they do is eat pizza. And they call it pizza. And I'm like, there's no fucking Italy in this world. There's no Italians. Why do you call it pizza? Call it something different. And that was the point where I just lost my shit. And it's so dumb. It's a dumb thing to lose my shit over. But it's just like, why do you call it pizza? Why do you have pizza? There's no Italy. There's no Italy in your world. Call it something different. I'm not saying they couldn't have pizza. It's not a hard formula to crack. It's dough, cheese, and sauce. Like, they could have invented pizza, but they wouldn't have called it fucking pizza. No. So that was it. That was like the turning point in my brain where I just couldn't. I talked about Danica already. I'm just like, her personality is just imaginary. Also, I just wanted to mention that all the dudes in this book are total chads. Like Hunt Athalar, he is our yes. Yeah, they do. So Hunt Athalar is the main romantic lead. He is like an angel or whatever. And he's like hundreds of years old. Like he's been around for a minute. And this guy, you're going to tell me, walks around in a tank top and gym shorts with a backwards hat, with like kind of long hair, playing video games and eating pizza and chugging beer. Like this is what he does. He is hundreds of years old. Why is he a Chad? Why? And it's just like, I am not attracted to Chads. Nothing against Chads. I'm sure some of them are very nice people. Like, go for it. If you want to be a Chad, be a Chad. But it's just like, I don't get it. Like, why? You were like, let's just say he's 400. I don't remember how many hundreds of years old he is, but he's a few hundred at least. And he's like wearing fucking gym shorts. Like, not just to the gym, like out in the world. Like, that's just what he wears for clothes. And it's like, put some damn pants on. You're a grown ass man. Wear pants. Like, so everybody's like such a Chad, and I'm like, why are they like this? Like, it makes no sense for them to be Chads because they're so old, and like, not that older people like have no sense of like wanting to wear gym shorts, but like their personality would be different because they wouldn't be so juvenile because they're hundreds of years old, and like I can't fuck with it. So yeah, I hit a wall with this. Everything is the wall I hit, and I'm just throwing it all at you. But I did say something like, I do love Therian being a mermaid cop. So he's a mermaid detective, like think noir detective, but like a mermaid. And I love that. I love him because he's actually just being like flirty, but like for fun. And so I don't know. I like Therian a lot. He's interesting, maybe mainly because mermaid cop. Like, who doesn't want to say mermaid cop? It's just a fun thing. Let's see. Also, the Viper Queen keeps getting brought into this a lot. A lot. So I'm like, who the Viper Queen, I feel like it's going to be a wild card going forward. This is just me like speculating because like even though like this book did not settle right with me, I am going to read the next book in the series. I didn't hate it. It's just like there's a lot of inconsistencies here that bothered me. And since they did so much stuff with like watery people in this, and they have like a list of all the houses, like House of Earth and Blood, right? That was the name of book 1. House of Sky and Breath, name of book 2. House of Many Waters, and then there's House of Flame and Shadow. And they started talking a lot about water people, like Mermaid Cop, and all of them got talked about a lot. And they started talking about Flame and Shadow quite a bit with like the demons and dragons and stuff. So like obviously there's 2 more books in the series probably, and we know the titles. So going into that, like the Viper Queen isn't necessarily aligned with water people, but like I feel like they're adjacent. I don't know. I'm very interested in the Viper Queen because like she's obviously like evil, but like I don't think she's evil. Like I think mostly evil, but not 100% evil. I don't know. She fascinates me, and I want to see what her fucking deal is. I don't know what it is yet, but it's something. Okay. So there's this whole thing where they're helping the rebels out in this book, right? And Cormac, Bryce's asshole guy who said like, "Oh, I'm gonna marry you now," and she's like, "The fuck you are." Like he becomes like a big part of the story, and he was involved with the rebels. That Sophie, remember Sophie who died in chapter one, was also involved in. So like they all kind of get involved in these rebels who are getting put into those concentration camps. This whole war thing is kind of like becoming a big deal. And Rune gets like roped into it because he can like he's telepathic, he can talk in people's minds. And okay. So they put him in contact with like their undercover agent, Agent Day, right? And he calls himself Agent Night. Get it, day and night. It's really fine. I'm fine with that. I like all their interactions, but I don't know if everyone else like immediately knew who Agent Day was, but like I guessed it immediately. Like immediately. And I was like, oh, I bet Agent Day is this person. And wouldn't you know, I was like 110% correct. And I guessed it right away. And I don't know if I'm just really astute or if it was harder to guess because I was like, this is really obvious, like how many clues they laid. I could see how they would have pointed to another character, but it was obviously this one character who's a bad guy that we meet a lot in this book. And I was like, well, it's them. There you go. Problem solved. I solved about 400 pages before they solved it. So, so nailed that one. But I don't want to say who it is. Let me know in the comments. Do you guys want me to just say who Agent Night or Day is? I don't know. I guessed it immediately. And I am interested in that. Because like obviously that's such a pairing because of course Rune is in love with this person and that's going to be like problems, so of course they're going to be together, and I was into it anyway. Very complicated, very complicated. Let's see. I don't remember why I wrote this note, but it was like, oh great, yet another cryptic message before a big fight. I don't know, but honestly it was like every fight they have like a cryptic message and then they go have to like fight for their lives repeatedly. And then I said, oh, why bother even having Pippa Spetsos as a character? Nothing's done with her as a character since chapter one. She's just an angry lady looking to kill people. She has no other purpose. So there is a rebel leader named Pippa, and she's a crazy person and she kills people for funsies. And obviously she's a bad guy. We should not want to play with her. But like she has no other purpose or thoughts. Like she has a couple thoughts on page. We get like, I don't know, 2 pages from her perspective in chapter 1. And then we never deal from her perspective again. So we know nothing about her or what her intentions are. She's just so one-dimensional that it was just like, why bother? Like if you had 800 pages and you're not going to do any character development in it, like why put the character in? You had a lot of space in which to give her some character development and you did none of it besides just make her crazy and angry, which is boring. Like she's not a properly good antagonist. So again, why bother with that? I'm like, these people literally run at everything that could kill them. Stop poking bears with sticks. That's about many things in the book. Basically, every time they hear something's dangerous, when you know they go there right away. It's like they have no sense of self-preservation. And it's mainly just Bryce being stupid. Like she has the potential to be very intelligent and smart. Like there's a big component of this book where they're searching for a kid. It's like Sophie's brother who she was getting out of that concentration camp and he's missing and everyone's looking for him, right? Bryce ends up going like doing this thing that I wish we had some development of throughout the book. All of a sudden it's just like they just show you what happened. I'm like, when did Bryce do this? Bryce has been on the page like every page of this book, and like all of a sudden she had this secret plan that the reader didn't know about. It felt weird, but whatever. If she was a very clever plan, she found the kid, got him away safely without anyone knowing. She has the potential to be very clever. But yet she just runs at everything that's dangerous with reckless abandon. And it's like, maybe take a minute and think before you run into like literal monsters all the time. It's like there's a cryptic message and then they run into battle with no plan of things that are going to obviously hurt them. And they're like astounded every time they get their asses handed to them. It's like, why are you doing this to me? Why? This is why it took me a week to read it. I hit such a wall with it because nothing made sense. And as soon as one thing doesn't make sense, like it kept pulling the thread of everything that didn't make sense, and to the point where I could not stop focusing on it. And that's like, that's an issue of like willing, suspension of disbelief, where you're just like, oh, that doesn't make sense, but whatever. I don't care. I will willingly disbelieve this because the book is fun. Like, I hit a wall where I could not. I just, everything, it bothered me a lot. So the rest of this is going to be very, very spoilery for the end of the book. I'll just give you that right now. um, so the whole point of this book, they were trying to figure out something that Danica knew, and they were trying to figure out like what's the deal with the Asteri. Why are they here? Why are they like that? Why are they like that? Like that's what they're trying to do. So they have to break in to the Asteri archives, which is like breaking into the Pentagon, It's like, why do you think this would just go swimmingly for you? They just go in, they're like, oh, we'll get out. It'll be fine. We'll be fine. I'm like, it'll not be fine. Like, no one thought it wasn't going to be fine. Like, I'm so bizarre. Okay. So anyway, they're looking for like this information about this dirt basically on the Asteri that'll like stop the war and defeat them and kick them out, whatever. And it's like, yeah, if that information exists, it's not easy to get. The Asteri will know you're trying to get it and they will hurt you because they're fucking the Asteri. And like, I don't know why these thoughts did not occur to them. But anyway, so they go there. It doesn't go well. Surprise, surprise. They all get captured. But they do learn a few things about the Asteri. And this kind of gets into that thing where all of the mass universes are connected, because basically the Asteri came from another world or dimension into this world and then tricked a bunch of other people from other dimensions to show up here. And then they like ended up and then someone else caught wise to them, and they shut the doors so no one else could join this universe. And basically the Asteri had done this many, many times before, basically because they're cannibals, kind of. They feed off of like first light, which is like magical energy produced when someone becomes an immortal, essentially. So they're parasites, they're cannibals, whatever you want to call them. So they basically just have like all these people living there so they could feed off of them. And like, I get it, it's evil, like people shouldn't eat people. Like, but 90% of the people in this world just live their lives normally, have happy lives, and they don't do anything to them. They just, eat their first light, which they don't do anything with. It's not like the person needs it for something or they'll like get hurt. No, it gets expelled when they become an immortal and they eat it. So I'm just like, I don't get it. Like eventually they get into more so the bone quarter, and like all the people who have passed, their souls go to the bone quarter, and they find out like souls aren't just chilling there in the afterlife. They actually get fed back to the Asteri again as a second light. So basically they're eating souls. So that's where the evil part comes in. But if they were just eating first light, like I don't see the problem. Like, okay, boo-hoo, they gave you a lovely place to live and they just eat something you're not using. But anyway, so they're eating souls. I get it, evil. They can't be doing shit anymore. And we have all these demon princes, and they're they're in the pit. Basically, hell is another dimension. They got also closed off from Midgard, is where they call their world, and they all want to come pick a fight with the Asteri because demons, angels, that kind of fight. And everyone thinks like the guys in the pit are bad guys, but like, don't get me wrong, like they're bad guys. They're not good people down there, but like neither are the Asteri. So it's like lesser of two evils. So we kind of find out eventually that like the princes of the pit actually caught onto the Asteri and were trying to stop them since the beginning, and then they got trapped in this other dimension, so they couldn't like finish the job, so to speak. So there's a lot of stuff going on there, but I always really liked Adis, and I liked Jessica, who was from book one. She was like Bryce's old boss, and they have a connection, and Jessica is kind of in this book a little bit. all the characters I missed who are just kind of assholes, but like fun assholes aren't in here enough. I loved Adis and Jessica. I wanted them so heavily in this book. Also, like I had a weird prediction that didn't come true at all, where Sarah J. Maas has done this many times in her other series, where like the first person the lead heroine is with, like it's great and it's really deep and loving, but it's not who they end up with. It's happened in both other series. So I thought like, oh, she has this huge thing with Hunt and it's very intense, but maybe she's going to end up with Adis. Like I thought it was going to twist and like she wouldn't be with Hunt. She was going to be with Adis because like he's been around for a while. I don't know. He gives me Rhysand vibes. So I was like, oh, is she going to end up with Adis? I would be into that. I was into it so hard. And I'm like, oh, well, that's not going to happen because like, no, she and Hunt are like mates and like they're all about each other. So I'm like, okay, well, she's not going to get with Adis, obviously, even though I kind of wanted her to, because, you know, talking cat, he's not always a cat. She wouldn't just be with a talking cat. Like he would be like a human, but whatever. So that was like an incorrect prediction I was kind of hoping for that didn't happen. But anyway, so they find all that information in the archives. And of course they get caught. And they're like, no, 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 you can't do that. And then Rigelus, who's like the head bad guy, shows up and he's like, very carefully explains the whole like evil plot, like, you know, villains tend to do. But it's like, why? Why? You're millennia old. You wouldn't feel the need to tell everybody about your evil plans and machinations. It was great for us as a reader because someone just laid out all the facts so we know what's going on. But like it made no sense that it was Rigelus doing it. So anyway, he comes in with his long villain speech about like, let me trill my mustache and tell you how evil my plot is and how it's going to win. And it's stupid. But anyway, so basically the Asteri are evil. The people are essentially just there as cattle for them to eat, and they need to stop them because they're evil and bad and they don't want them eating their souls, which, you know, understood. I don't want somebody eating my soul, so I get it. And then, you know, they all get captured, of course, because I don't know why they thought this was going to work in the first place. And then it kind of ends with everybody in a bad situation. So you have like Rune and Hunt and Baxian. Baxian's a new character that was kind of brought into this book. They're all caught by Rigelus, and like Hunt gets re-enslaved, and like Rune and them, they're all getting thrown in the dungeons for torture and whatever. Bryce ends up getting away because she opens a portal to another dimension. She's trying to go to hell to open the portal, bring all of the hell fighters over to kill the Asteri. She's like, you know, last resort. And she opens a portal, but does she go to hell? No, she does not. She winds up in the Night Court. So now she's like in this new land. She's like, where is everybody? And then wouldn't you know, the people she run into is Rhysand and Feyre. So now she's in a completely new place. Apparently, Rhysand and Rune look identical to each other. So obviously, there is some type of family connection. They both have a lot of Starborn things where her power is starlight, and they're all like the Night Court. Obviously, there's some relation here. And I don't know necessarily how that plays into things. I don't know if this is their time, like Feyre and Rhysand, and then Bryce and Hunt are contemporary. Like, I don't know if she opened a portal just contemporary, like from this time to another place at the same time, or she opened a portal and she's in the past or the future. I don't know. They just leave it like that. The last line of the book is like, oh, hi, I'm Rhysand, and it just kind of ends. So, yeah, all of the books are very connected. Very more connected than the other ones, because we only had a brief flash of like Aelin and Rhysand kind of briefly seeing each other and the other ones. But now she's like literally going to go hang out with them for a while. So ACOTAR fans are probably very, very excited that these books are now fully intertwined with each other. But they still have some people who aren't captured yet. They have Ethan, Tharion, Declan, Flynn, Fury. They have the Viper Queen and the dragon, maybe. There's a dragon in this book too, guys. So they have some allies who were not captured yet. So perhaps they could escape. I don't know. They are captured by the Asteri. It sounds like it's not going to be good, considering Hunt is now mystically enslaved. So who knows? There's just going to be problems, lots of them down the road. But yeah, basically, my big wall with this book was just like I could not suspend my disbelief because so many things made so little sense that it was insurmountable. Like, if only a couple things didn't make sense, I feel like I could have gotten over it. But like, so many things didn't make sense that I like could not I could not deal with it. Anyway, that's kind of it. So I ended up giving like 3 stars because it's fine. Like I like the world a lot and I'm going to read the next book. So I don't hate the book. I just don't understand it essentially, and it bothered me how many like plot holes there are. So, of all of her books, do I think this is her best? No. I, it's not great. It's not the best one from just a plot hole perspective. I didn't think it was that good, which is weird because House of Earth and Blood was one of my favorite books I read in 2020. It made my top books of the year list. Like, I loved it intensely. But like all the things I really really loved about book 1 kind of weren't what it's not in book 2. This was kind of a world building end game kind of setup book where I feel like they're introducing all of these players and like the bigger picture to the world where they're going to be dealing with that for the next 2 books. And the first book was more like an introduction, one-off kind of story where it felt like self-contained a bit. This one is obviously setting up other stuff. So I don't know. It's like middle book syndrome a little bit. I don't think it's a middle necessarily because I think there's going to be 4 books in this series, but I don't know. I was disappointed, but out of 15 books, only one of them was like really disappointed me. I'm like, that's pretty good out of all of them. I even liked her Catwoman book. Like, I'll be real, guys. Before I read any other Sarah J. Maas books, the first one I read from her was the Catwoman book. I know no one's read the Catwoman book. No one wanted to. And that was the first Maas book I ever read. So I started in a weird place with her. And then I went into Throne of Glass, which is still my favorite Maas series. I loved it. And there's ACOTAR. And now there's this Crescent City. And they're all part of the big universe. I don't know how far they're going to go into this. I don't know if like the Throne of Glass series universe is going to make another appearance or not. I don't think so. I think it's more just ACOTAR and Crescent City are like buddies now. Anyway, I felt like that was sufficiently spoilery without being too well. It was very specific. Never mind. It was just spoilery. But I didn't say everything, so there's still some mystery left. Yeah. That's what I wanted to do today. I just wanted to tell you guys about those 2 books I read because that's all I read because I read 2 books in 1 week. I read this one and Rebecca, and then it took me a whole week and like several days. I looked at the book and just couldn't like stand opening it and reading it. That's why it took me a week to read it because I was like, no, they have pizza, and like that was the key of it. And when like the pizza thing, because they're all Chads and they're all eating pizza all the time, and it makes no sense. And it was just like, why do you have pizza? There's no Italy. There's no Italy in your world. Why do you call it pizza? Call it something else. You have like obviously some type of baseball or football sport type of thing you call sunball. You have other names for things. Why do you call it pizza? So who knew the book would be brought down by pizza? Let's see. I'm going back through comments, see what everyone's been saying. It is a retelling. It is the first one is Hades and Persephone, and then this one is Psyche and Eros, and it's very much like a contemporary romance kind of. It's like modern world, but modern day Olympus. So they have like Instagram or whatever, but they don't call it Instagram obviously because it's Olympus and it's not the real world. Like even that book like did it correctly. So sorry, there was just a very loud motorcycle all of a sudden. But yeah, they are retellings of the myths essentially. I think this one is less of a retelling, honestly, because the Psyche and Eros it had something about like she wasn't allowed to see his true form, and then he showed her the true form and her head exploded. Not like exactly like that, but it's something like that. And that doesn't really happen in here. So I don't know. I think it is a retelling, but the second book is probably less of retelling than the first one is. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So I hope you enjoy it. I know a lot of people gave it 5 stars. Like a lot of people really, really enjoyed it. I spoiled a lot for you. I'm sorry. Never mind, you're fine with them. But yeah, I really liked Crescent City. So I had like a whole like want to love this, and sadly it didn't happen. Me too. I also love spoilers. It does not make me want to read the book any less. There you go. Thank you. It's mainly just classics, but I guess this one falls into the same category. Right? Why does everyone have a boner for Bryce? There's other women. It's always Bryce. Oh my gosh. Um, Indie fantasy romance does primarily have the banging there. Charles is not wrong. By the way, Charles is like a really great YouTuber, guys. If you want like some great romance recommendations, author interviews and stuff, go check out his page. Really cool. Exactly. Sometimes you just want to bang one out for funsies, and like not everything has to be soul shattering. Like let them just have a good time for heaven's sakes. Yeah, they don't all need to be super intense. Let them have some casual times. Let's see. Yeah. So sometimes I think people should just write full urban fantasy and call it a day. Set it in on our Earth with some fantasy elements. There is a lot of that. Like a lot of like contemporary fantasy is usually based in the real world. Usually, if something's not based in our world, I call it just fantasy romance rather than contemporary fantasy. So this one is really weird because it's kind of obviously like a parallel to our world, but it's obviously not our world. And it's not like they're like, oh, we're in Chicago and like this is the world where Asteria are here and there's Fae and everything. Like if they said it in the real world and this was just like a fantasy version of it, like I'd buy that. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's a fantasy world, but it's the real world. This one is like, no, it's completely different universe, but they have pizza. Like, why? Why do you have pizza? It makes no sense. Hi, Maggie. It's okay. You've been spoiled, but I hope you still like it when you read it. Well, you know what? If okay, here's the thing. If Hunt was in his 60s, I would let him be a Chad. He's like hundreds of years old at this point. I think he's past Chad category. But yeah, I mean, nothing against gym shorts. Like my guy likes to wear gym shorts sometimes, but like, he's also not hundreds of years old. Essentially. Mm. I don't know about that. I like strong characterization. Like I want the characters don't necessarily have to be likable. Like there's some terrible characters that I'm like, oh, I should not like this person. Like they're obviously murdering people. They're not a good person. I don't like them, but hot damn, are they fascinating? So I feel like someone needs to be a character needs to be compelling, whether or not they're likable or not. I think a really good like example that's not exactly literary. Well, it kind of is. It is a book. The Godfather, Michael Corleone. Very unlikable character, but interesting and fascinating. And you want to see what he's going to do next, even though like he does some very evil things. Like, is he likable? No. But is he great to watch? Yeah. So, plot also is important. Like, I will let things go in plots if I'm enjoying it overall. Like if something else is really compelling, like I can suspend disbelief for more things. But what happened, especially in House of Sky and Breath, I just couldn't stop. I couldn't suspend my disbelief because so many things didn't make sense that it made me hit a wall in a reading slump. So yeah, that's kind of where I am with everything. And I talked for a long time about this book, but I just wanted to review it. Here we are, reviewing stuff, guys. I'm going to take a minute. Next Saturday, whatever that is. What is next Saturday? Let me check. Da, 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 da. So next Saturday, the 12th, I think I'm going to do another wine chat, except I will have a lovely co host, and it's going to be Crystal from Crystal's Bookish Life. And I think we're going to be talking about Damaged Dukes. It'll be like a little bit of a romance recommendation one. We're going to discuss the topic. I think it's going to be really fun. If you guys haven't checked out Crystal's Bookish Life, check her out. She's a really great lady. And like, this is like perfect for her to comment on. I think she's going to have a lot of like keen insights into the genre. So next Saturday, same time, same place, 12 p.m. Pacific time, my channel. We're going to be discussing that. I think it's going to be a really good time. They are. And here's the thing, like you either, I think it's just her writing style at this point. She overwrites. It's just kind of her thing. And I don't always mind it because if I'm enjoying the story, I like, again, I can just suspend my disbelief and I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to go along with it. Like Crescent, like the first book of this series, House of Earth and Blood, way overwritten as well. However, did I enjoy it? Yeah, I didn't care it was overwritten because I was having a great time with it. I loved all the stuff they were adding, even though some stuff was completely irrelevant, didn't need to be in there. It just kind of depends on the ride, you know? Like I'm not always upset with something being overwritten. I acknowledge that it's overwritten, but it doesn't always upset me. Like this time it's like it's 800 pages and it was nonsense for a lot of it. So, but yeah, that is something a lot of people agree with, that she needs an editor. Her books, 800 pages is a lot. That's an ask for a book. I could see like 500 pages being a norm for her because she does like to write a lot, but like 800 is a lot. It's a lot of pages. And it's not easy for her to write. I don't think she'd take no time for her to write 800 pages. She could write less pages and put out more books. Just putting that out there in the universe. I don't know. But anyway, there you go. Sarah J. Maas. I like her stuff. This one bothered me. But out of 15, only one of them was bad. It's not too bad of an average. Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have any questions? Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I think I'll probably start wrapping up because all I had to talk about today were 2 books. So I had a 5-star read. Totally love this. Very fun. Good times. Smutty delights. So it's a good, fun read. Also, not 800 pages. This is 372 pages, but it is a quick read. Like I read it in 2 days because I didn't try that hard. It's fine. It's not that long. This one is literally twice as big. And oh boy, 3 stars just because like I'm generous. Like it's fine. You know, it's fine. That's what 3 stars means for me. It's fine. There's nothing, I don't hate it. It's just fine. There's nothing to, write home about either. The first Spindle Cove book, it grew on me, but when I first read it, I was like, who is this misogynist asshole? Like, I did not like the lead character in that. Eventually, I did really like it. I don't know. I liked parts of that book, but it's one of her older books as well. Her books get better and better as she progresses as a writer. But yeah, that one's a little rough to start. I agree with you. But as the Spindle Cove series progresses, it gets better and better. Do it. It's especially Neon Gods, the first one, like, oh boy, like that is just very smutty. Like like a bit of a kink factor as well, but it's very, very smutty. This one, a little less smutty, a little bit more plot, which I actually preferred, honestly, because the other one was just like smut kind of for the sake of smut. And this one was more like, oh, like that, let's have a plot and smut. And I was like, okay, I'm with you. Yeah. There was like a subtle misogyny vibe with the main character in that book, which I was not into. By the end of the book and the rest of the series, I feel like he's calmed down. But like he was not someone I wanted to deal with either, so I'm with you on that. I've just come to accept it, I guess. But yeah, he wasn't a great guy. Did not like him that much when I read it first time either. So, yeah, next week, same time, same place, we're going to be talking some new concepts, having wine, having a chat. Crystal's Book is Life will be here. And yeah, that's kind of all I have to say today, guys. It was just a quick little wine chat talking about books. Let me know in the comments or the discussion if there's any like wine chat topics you'd really like me to discuss. Let me know. I'd love to put them in rotation because, sometimes I just kind of come in here and just hope for the best. Oh, for next time, yeah, I guess if you guys want to pick a red, white, or rosé, go ahead. This I don't think I asked last time, so I just drank whatever I wanted today, and this was like that Pinot Noir, which is good. I've had better Pinot Noir, but I feel like people who don't like particularly floral wines, you might like this one better because it's not quite as floral. It's a bit more, I don't know. It's like I can't describe it other than purple. It tastes purple. I don't know, that doesn't make sense to anybody but me, but, like, it has less of that floral note and more of, like, a wine quality, so I don't know, I think you guys might like that one, but if I'm gonna drink a Pinot Noir, I'm looking for floral notes, essentially, so for me, it was a little underwhelming at first, but it got better as it opened up, so there you go. And I haven't seen any votes yet for wine color, so let me know if you have one you particularly would like me to do, and we'll pick it. Um, yeah. What should I say? I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with things to talk about because I already talked about my books. I've read 3 books this month so far. So far I am out of my reading slump, mainly because I read fluffy rom-coms and had a good time with it. Like fluffy rom-coms always get me through the day. And then I just finished actually my 3rd book this morning, right before I started this live show. I'm gonna be starting this on Monday. I'm gonna take the weekend off. I'm gonna take a couple of reading breaks just so I don't get overwhelmed. But I am very excited by Iron Widow. Like next week, I think I'm gonna move more towards fantasy and a little bit away from fluffy rom-coms. So I'm gonna mix things up. But yeah, I am very excited for Iron Widow. I've heard nothing but great things about it. I just pulled it out this morning, so I know I'm gonna start it soon. Very, very excited. And I also have to read Jane Eyre this month. And I'm like nervous about it because it's so long. It's so long. I have to drink the whole time. And I'm like, oh, my liver, my poor liver. I agree. They're just the best slump breakers. Why? Because you can get through them so quick and they're just delightful. Yeah, right? I am so excited for that one. I think it's gonna be really, really good. Oh, I get it kind of from a lot of different places. In general, I usually, if I want to try a bunch of different stuff, I will just go to Total Wine. I like them better than Bevmo. Bevmo, I'm like about. They're fine, I guess, but like I prefer Total Wine. So if I want to get a bunch of different stuff, like I'm just trying to try one in general, and I'm not trying to break the bank with it. I usually go to Total Wine. I think they have a really good selection. I got this from Total Wine. This was, I think it was like 28. So not, not breaking the bank. It's a little, it's 28. It's like a nice bottle. I wouldn't say it's like an everyday bottle, but it's nice. $28. It's not too expensive. Yay. I am very excited for it. I'm fingers crossed I like it. If I don't like it, I'll be just devastated. um yeah, so next time I will be drinking something. I don't know what yet, but we'll find out next Saturday. I just put in the fridge just to chill. I put a Cortese in the fridge, which I am excited to try. It's a white wine from Italy, and it is a bit it usually has more like appley kind of texture to it. Let me think for a second. Cortese. It's like a dry white wine. It's gonna have like a lot of apple. It's gonna have like a lot of like floral notes. I think it's gonna have like a honeysuckle or like wildflower or something. And the finish should have like a bit of like a nutty kind of undertone. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet, but I got a Cortese just because I felt like having an Italian white today. So I put it in the fridge to chill. So I'll probably try that and see how that goes. But I am excited for it. So who knows? Who knows? I don't know if I'll like it yet. We'll find out. Anyway, guys, it's been lovely. Thank you guys for coming to my wine chat and hearing me rant about, about House of Sky and Breath, which I wanted to love, but like just could not. I couldn't get over things. I hit such a wall with it. But moving on, I'm still gonna read the next book of the series. Like, who am I kidding? I'm gonna continue because I still do like the series, even though this book was just not killing it for me. But overall, I'm still in. I'm like, I want to see what happens next. So yeah, I'll see you guys Wednesday. I will have a new video on my channel. And next Saturday, I will be doing another wine chat. And also, if you guys want bonus live shows, bonus content and stuff, I do have a Patreon now. And the description down below is the link to it. So if in case you're interested, it's there. Otherwise, you do not have to join at all. My content's still free on YouTube. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys for coming. I had so much fun talking to everybody and like just getting all of my complaints off my chest. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you guys next week. Okay.